First of all, congratulations everyone. This is the hardest step is to take the first step. So you have accomplished a lot, and I kudos to you. And I'll spend few minutes talking about what you are venturing into, some insights on what's going on, and probably what will help you understand. So future of data science, where we are heading to. So as Nick pointed out, you are all from a very diverse background, and it's a hot field. A lot of businesses are needing good data science professionals who understand data and understand the culture of companies. So I'll spend a few minutes explaining or discussing with you the future of data science, and definitely feel free to chime in. And even after the end of the presentation, you can feel free to have any question. I'll be able to address that as well. So as you all are data savvy, so I can't just show you funny cats and get by. So let me show you some slides so as to gain your trust that maybe I'm talking some sense. So as again Nick pointed out, almost every field, so this is a disruptive trend from our friends at McKinsey. So almost every field in the world is needing data and analytics. So mobile internet, automating knowledge workers, Internet of Things, cloud. So almost everything you must have heard, and that's why you all are here. So again, taking a first step is the hardest one. So hopefully after today, things will be a bit smoother. So one of the things that I want to talk to you about is something that you may not have discussed in your cohort, is that analytics is a human problem, and we'll talk about what's going on and probably build up a case and then have your buy-ins on that. So this is one of the chart from Andrew McAfee's presentation. So if you look at the green, if you look at this green one, it says that corporate investments, equipment, and software. And if you look at the red one, it's talking about employment to population ratio. So what it is suggesting is that there is a lot more investments coming in the equipment and software on the workforce than actually empowering the employment or empowering the workers or having more workers. And this is another interesting trend to understand the future of data science. So this is the challenges of global skill gap that we are seeing. So one of the things that disconnect between skills produced by educational systems and organizational need. So this is one of the farthest. So I was talking to Nick that one of the beautiful thing about this program is to keeping it short. So it gets you out in the field quickly, and that is a must needed thing that we all should be used to. So thanks to Northeastern, they are doing that initiative. And the second most sort of pressing thing is the evolving skill requirement due to technological change. Again, so world is changing faster for us. Now the question is, are we changing with it with the same pace? And that's and since data science is almost at the hem of everything that you hear and probably will hear in future, so you will be part of that big problem dilemma as well. So you have to help find that answer along all of us. And this is another interesting slide that I put together. So finding a talent is hard. So this is kudos to you again. So basically, for any business to exist, they have two fundamental blocks for the business to exist: strategy and corporate development, and the second is the tech and the engineering. So on both the verticals, there is a huge. You can see there's a big. It's difficult to find talent. So as a data science professionals heading into corporate world, it's almost our responsibility to bridge that gap. So till we are comfortable filling those verticals in, you will come across a lot of communication issues, a lot of areas where you have to take other verticals with you and help them understand what's going on, understanding this problem that's why you are into all this communication debacle, and that's why almost every program put a lot of emphasis on communicating or storytelling with data. It's important, and we should be doing that more often than what we are currently doing. And so that begs to a question of, are human really relevant? So we have seen that the trends are lower. We are seeing some automation is going on. So I did this goofy search on Google, and I got about 3.2 million hits. So again, very, very optimistic thing that people are talking about it. There's a lot of debate on that. So you will be part of that conversation as well, because data science is primarily what is leading that discussion into the future. So you, as a data science professional, pretty much owe it to yourself to help all of us understand how you can manage a balance between keeping people employed at the same point, creating some fun stuff, fun, cool toys for all of us to have fun with. And to understand whether humans are relevant, this is a recent story that I came across. So DARPA, this is one of the defense association here, they recently conducted on their 40th anniversary a challenge or a hackathon in which they asked all their followers that on the 40th anniversary they will put 10 random balloons in geographical location in US, and whoever comes up with the longitude and latitude of those balloons first gets a $40,000 bounty. So beautiful challenge. So I want to now pass it on to you. What do you guys think, how much it took the winner to come back with an answer, and what do you think is the solution? If you can, we can have some participation, probably one of the last participations in this class.
Do you know where the balloons are launched from?
No. So it's going to be random somewhere, you have no clue. And
so it's basically just statistical estimation on randomness.
Not even that, maybe. It's like you have to come up with the right location.
And you don't know where the balloons were launched from, at what time, at what weather conditions, and what size the balloons are?
No.
Okay.
Social network.
Very close. So the answer is financial engineering and crowdsourcing. So this is something what they did. 40,000 for 10 balloons, 4,000 for one balloon. I will give 2,000 to a locator, whoever locates the coordinates, and whoever get to the locator will get 1,000, whoever get to this guy will get 500, and so on and so forth. And whatever is left would be given to charity. Within 8 hours, 52 minutes, one of the team at MIT, they come back with an answer. So this is what humans do best, right? So intuitive capabilities, the very fact of connecting a very random financial engineering solution to a totally random problem, right? So that is what gives hope that humans or intuitive capabilities are important, and we as a data science professional should be able to embrace that in our future working culture. So that's what we need to preserve. And so what we are seeing pretty much is dehumanized analytics failed us, and one of the big example is 2016. So I'll not go too much into political details, but this is one of the projections that many of the models come back with, right? So we all know the results, so I'll not go there. But definitely this is one of the things that analytics, we did almost all the analytics pundits, we relied on data, and we come up with these answers. And not even, this is not just first one of the appearance, we all know about Brexit. So we know 3/4 of analysis, so 3/4 of the analysis, what 3/4 would say, let's remain in Brexit, and 1/4 says let's leave. And again, the data failed for us. And these are like big mishaps. So if you rely too much of your business on data, and once you start getting these results, then the whole base for this analytics is questioned, right? Whether how a business should be impacted if they can't rely on data for their analysis. So one of the things that you need to, as data science professional heading into this future and building a bright future for all of us, needs to understand is make data science great again. So sure, we can have how. So restore faith in data and analytics. So how you can restore faith, build human-centered products and models. So one of the things that many of us or automation tend to do is, hey, this data is available to me, let me skew and chew it and see what's going on. But what we miss out on a big way are the human touch. So what if data is as good as its source? So if you don't have good sources, your analysis would be flawless, but it's useless as well. So we need to make sure that we are taking as many or as much of human input in our analysis as possible. And we need to promote inclusion in our data analytics, right? So we need to be very responsive. We need to be very approachable, reachable to anyone who is seeking one of these solutions. So to help them understand what's going on. And then we need to be, or we should be able to embrace creativity. As we saw in an example a few minutes back, creativity in art is what gets us to our answers in a rapidly shorter amount of time. So our model and engineer should be able to appreciate that fact. And if you look at all the successful mathematical models, anywhere where you have intuitive capabilities, those models tend to have a higher accuracy than a model with no intuitive capability. So even mathematically, it's proven that we should appreciate the intuitive capability of humans. And we as a data scientist going in this future should be able to embrace that fact. So let's keep in mind two things. So preserve art and creativity. So people buy Picasso, they don't buy a painting, right? So we have to understand that. You have to go and build up a case for a Picasso. Not really, you're not selling a painting here. And similarly, this is one of the very forward-looking and very optimistic quote that we have heard from Marie Curie. Nothing in life is to be feared, it is only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more so that we may fear less. So we, as data science professionals, should be able to take those challenges and not fear from that. We would be given a lot of situation because of our involvement in a lot of interesting scenarios. We should be able to embrace the facts and what's going on, whether we like it or not, and then give it a model, give it a container in our model, so we can find more accurate and more reliable models for all of us. So with that, I wish you all a predictable error-driven success with statistical significant achievements. I know you guys can make more sense out of this than I do. So thank you so much, everyone. So here's my detail if you want to get in touch, and if you have any question, I'm more than happy to answer it now, or we can chat later as well.
Can you go back to balloon slide, please?
Yes.
I just stuck to my mind. So
This guy.
yeah, so basically the task here is not about winning 40,000. The task is about Latitude and 10 random balloon having a budget of 40,000. Am I understanding?
Yes.
Correct? So basically
So
what you
it's
explained.
either or, right? So it's the
So you
sure
don't think
it's a
you have
bounty,
budget.
so take it. But these guys said, okay, we don't need it. We would rather win than have 40K. So it's a percepted what is the
So that's the real solution. The 2K per locator plus 1K per person. So the locator is responsible for some certain area. So is it somehow correlated to actual map of United States where you locate how many, where you split United States map in sections and figure out how many locators?
Oh, so these are students, I would assume, right? So students have one of the world's most massive network than all of us, right? So it's this and our big tuition loan combined would create that motivation, right? So we'll go out and look for those things. And then sort of this financial engineering, there's a massive incentive for you to be reacting to this, right? So one of the things that you have to address this problem is, should you react
So
on
it's
this
similar like
information?
people would have an app, and if they see a balloon and they click, and that's
Right.
the balloon that needs to be found, the 2,000 will go on them, so they would
Right,
click
right.
when they see a balloon.
Right.
And then if let's say there are definitely more than 10 random balloons right now in USA, and there are 20, and you find just 9, is it accounts for that? Because people would report all 20, how do they know which one out of 10?
So I think there was a second team that came on this chart. They came, I think they were one balloon short, I guess, and they took 15 hours and still not able to. So I'm sure people are trying different solutions. So whichever gets you your 10 balloons is probably the winner.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Vishal?
Yes.
Talk about your background in Northeastern and kind of how it's evolved into what you're doing today.
Yes, absolutely. So I was, prior to Northeastern, I was one of the automation and robotics grad back from India. And then I did telecom systems engineering here. So primarily I want to use automation. So I did a lot of fun stuff with high throughput computing, during my days in Northeastern. And then I joined a telco company, and from there on, learned the art of automation. So I was fascinated with, can I simulate human behavior and play with machines and do something with it? And somehow at that point it was, I don't know what it was called then, but then eventually I realized that it's a lot more valuable as time passes. So we were doing a lot of fun toys, whether it means delivering ads to AOL ad delivery platform, or whether it means doing some fun stuff with messaging on the email or delivering those. So I was always trying to create this high load or high throughput load on the system and trying to test those guys if they sustain. And then copying human behavior, creating stochastic models saying, hey, can a human interaction break this thing? And that was my job. And like, if you are paid to break things, that's like a best job ever, right? So I said, okay, let me pretty much stay here and break some more things. And then at some point someone says, no more breaking, just have fun. So I start sort of picking out of the companies and start breaking them. So since it's a fun ride. Yes, please.
You talked a little bit about the different challenges, whether it's from a skills gap or hiring difficulty from companies, and also kind of juxtapose that against some of the difficulties in using big data. I was wondering if you could maybe just, with all those things in mind, and just given the field that you work in, and kind of thematically bringing these things up and giving presentations like this, like what you see in terms of the future for data science jobs, and how to bring in more of like the creative, right-brained aspects into kind of more of like the mathematically quantitative aspects.
Right. No, I think so. The question is, how is future of jobs going to look like, right? So that's on a short. So I think this is one of the charts that pointed out that so data science is almost in every part of the conversation, right? So we have realized, so even in this election cycle and what US has seen, the first thing that after the results, people were jumping on which data analytics company that these guys used for the results that they got. So we want to know what's going on behind the scene when it comes to data and analytics. So as a culture, that thing is pretty in, right? So that means it has a lot of power and a lot of pull. And along with a lot of power comes a lot of responsibility, right? So now we are in that sort of future forward-looking zone in which we need to understand basically, so we will be happy for some time till data analytics is still the buzzword. If we see more of a mishaps, sort of where we rely too much on data and then we didn't get the results and we end up getting colossal failures, then it sends a reset button for all of us, right? So what went wrong, and we'll dig. And if the answer is, hey, it's too much analysis and too much data, then really human touch, and that's the intent of the talk today, then we as a humanity will say, okay, no, we are better off in coal mines, maybe. So we, as I think that's why we have to build up a case that why data-driven world is more sustainable, more sort of, we can rely on rather than sort of this erratic, where we said, hey, this is going to work, it's data, but then pretty much all eggs in the basket, and where is the basket now? We don't have it anymore. Am I answering you?
Yes, I suppose more specifically my question is around how do you see like specific roles in data science changing, given that there's a little bit more of an awakening that it is almost not, it's becoming increasingly much more known that it's equally as important to have the ability to see the forest rather than just the trees. So I'm just curious as to see what your opinion is on how that can progress in terms of roles and actions.
Again, very good question. So how the data science role is progressing compared to seeing as a tree or seeing as a forest. So it's a good start, right? So right now it's saying is, hey, whatever you can find. So I find 20% probability this thing will happen. It's not useful now, but it's good to have that certainty so I can keep on improving it. And suddenly we will get to a tree and maybe a fruit or maybe a seed on that tree. It's just a progression. And businesses are a lot more, so there are a bunch of things happening. So there are like some of the business silos that you'll be running against. Some of the businesses are saying that, hey, it's a keyword, so definitely we are in. But 3 or 4 sort of conversation deep, you realize no, they're not. There's a cultural barrier that you have to surpass, and they're still a very gut-based organization. So you have to work that's again, it's a human problem, right? So you cannot just ignore it. You have to, and you just can't just leave it. You have to bring it into your world and solve that. There's some of the very progressive companies. They say, hey, we want to be at the edge. So we have seen many businesses who have started early on this data-driven journey, and now they're selling pretty much their capabilities out. They say, hey, we have been doing this forever. Now we are mature. Now we can help even our clients. So they are at the top of their game, right? So because they took the risk early, so now they are reaping all the rewards of that. So it's based on wherever you work or where you are interacting, and I think it's exceptionally important to know the culture, right? Because again, data science, it hits onto the strategy and corporate developments, and that's the culture, right? That's the art in a business. So you have to make sure that you understand that right before you hack and sort of start working around it.
Can I add to that? So one of the things that we're saying is this kind of 1-2-7, which what I mean by that is the demand for folks in data is growing at the following kind of rate. For every one data scientist, companies need 2 data engineers to kind of extract clean munge, and then 7 data analysts to do reporting, visualization, storytelling within the organization to get to decision making. And so, one of the aha moments for us at Northeastern, we have a data science master's, but we don't have a data science boot camp right now. We have this data analytics one, because we're seeing the trends so that the companies are needing 7 times the number of data analysts for every one data scientist. Naturally, as companies mature, I think the demand for all of that will increase, and I don't know if that ratio will hold. Especially as data analysts become more powerful. Tools like R, as you've learned, are not that hard to begin to develop some mastery of, and they're incredibly powerful once you've been able to do that. And so, as we've seen in software development, is that as the technology progresses, the jobs abstract. So you don't need like a low-level like C++ Java engineer anymore. You can be a high-level Ruby on Rails developer and do the entire stack of a software build and deploy. I think you're going to see the same kind of thing in data, where the kinds of capabilities that you have will be able to expand because R will become even more powerful. The data visualization tools become more powerful. Obviously there are things like Python, et cetera, that begin to bridge that gap between data analysis and data engineering and data science. But that's kind of what we're seeing right now. The demand is really for data analysts because there aren't many companies that have enough data scientists to really drive their decision making.
That's a very good point. Makes sense.
So I like that you mentioned the importance of art and creativity, and certainly inclusion of other people within the organization in order to better promote data analytics. But I think on a parallel track to that would be the idea of data governance. So I wonder how that dynamic would change in the near future and perhaps even in the longer term future.
Right. No, I think that's again a very, very, very good question, that how the data governance is changing. So as we know, there's a shortage in this vertical, right? And then there is so the anxiety of using data for decision making is really, really high, right? And typically what happens in that zone is you break it to fix it later, so break it first. So we are almost like every business in a way they're running in that zone, right? So data governance is one of the concerns for almost every businesses, but it's as when they figure out they'll patch it zone. Like most of the businesses that we interact with. So they are some of the businesses who are mature, they understand where things break, where sort of who owns which data, and data ownership and data governance is this, and it's a constant battle, right? So because again, so many companies which are international, and then we have this every year, some country or the other put up a different law for the data management, right? So the businesses who are multinational will sort of get quickly impacted by all this hoopla of what's happening. So governance it's a constant battle to catch up. So something changed, then they try to fix that particular problem. So that's one of the constant battle. But some of the businesses are, again, they are very mature. So, and regulated company specifically. So the more regulated you are, the lesser you have to worry about, because you are always paranoid with what's going on. So sometimes that's a good thing, but many times it's a bad thing. But that's, in governance, it comes in your favor. But on the other side, a company like a GE or some companies who have sensory data or whatever, right? Or sensors. So now those businesses, again, are at a tricky situation. So first, you can say, hey, don't send an email to that with that attachment. How can you tell a sensor not to do that? And even when the sensor are negotiating among themselves, what they should do as a next step. So they're just going ahead with that, and with every risk, they are patching it. But as sort of the market becomes more mature, that our sort of sandbox with data became more mature, we'll have sort of all those toolkits. And there are a lot of advocacy companies out there who are helping understand to almost every vertical businesses how they should handle their governance part, because that's it's part of the culture. So if my culture is open and transparent, but data sometimes can tell you more things that may or may not be as transparent as you may or may not want. So it's a very good question, and it's a constant battle that we all are seeing and sort of fixing and progressing on that. Thank you so much.
I thought I was sick of home, but actually I was homesick. Never really knew that I would have to grow up so quick. I'm so uncomfortable, don't know anybody here. Just a couple dudes that I met once, that's it. And I go into the booth feeling nervous. Got butterflies in my stomach like I'm so worthless. Is the mic on? I don't know how to work this. Inside I'm breaking down, I hope I'm not up on a